Women are powerful creators. The Align Women podcast features female entrepreneurs, leaders, and other professional women who've demonstrated agency and innovation in their personal and professional lives. I'm your host, Amy Evans. I have authentic, intimate conversations with my guests that highlight their paths to success, their struggles and accomplishments, and the things that currently excite, motivate, and inspire them to turn their visions into reality. Welcome to the Align Women podcast. I'm Amy Evans, your host and the founder of Align Women, a leadership and networking organization for professional women. This podcast features female entrepreneurs, leaders, and other professional women who've demonstrated agency and innovation in their personal and professional lives. And today you are in for a treat. With me is Rachel Sunday. She's the president of Playa Vista Insurance Services, which is an employee benefits consulting firm in the Los Angeles area. She is also the founder of The Power of a Shower, which is a nonprofit that provides unhoused people with access to a safe place to take care of their personal hygiene. I am so excited to have you on the podcast. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited as well.
Let's jump into it. We'll start with the employee benefits piece, which may not be nearly as exciting and interesting, but since it's something you and I both do, I'm looking forward to hearing your story. I want to hear about your path to becoming an employee benefits broker, because none of us in this business take a straight path. So I want to hear how you got where you are.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to share that. It's funny that you even mentioned that because I think I am a diamond in the rough when it comes to this. I am one of the only people I know in the industry that actually went into the industry on purpose. So many people fall into the industry in different ways, whether it's straight out of college or through a family member or whatnot. My background was nursing. I was working as a nurse. I was a single parent. My daughter was not even 1 year old. And while I was nursing, I missed her first steps and I also missed her first words. And at that point, I said, something's got to give. And both of us were living in a very small apartment in Northridge. And I had probably a 200-pound computer sitting on my dining room table. And I went to the computer and realized I did not want to live paycheck to paycheck like my parents did while I was growing up. And I wanted to know what the most lucrative industry was in the world in case there was a catastrophic event that I could pick up and do something anywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. And when I looked it up, my research found it was insurance. So I was like, how can I transition my clinical background into insurance? I went into health insurance and I never looked back. I started at a very small employee benefits brokerage firm in Sherman Oaks that I don't think is any longer. I went from there to Cigna. And while I was at Cigna, I went through 7,000 layoffs and actually stayed employed. It was amazing. It's when they sold off their Medicare piece. From Cigna, I went to Lockton downtown, which was a real stepping stone for me. And then just kept growing in the industry until ultimately in 2012, I started my own firm. I was let go from my previous firm, unbeknownst to me, and had any disciplinary action. It was in the middle of the Affordable Care Act. I wasn't getting enough sales, but at that time, a lot of companies weren't making a lot of movement because it was just scary and nobody knew really what was going to be taking place through the Affordable Care Act. And so, I went home and I called my mentor, who was the woman who worked at the very first agency I worked at. And she said, darling, you must start your own business. And so I was actually let go on September 27th, 2012. I went to my parents and I asked them for a $10,000 loan because I knew I was going to be able to bring over some clients if I started my own business. And I wanted it to be seamless. I didn't want them to lose any services they were getting from my previous employer, which, as you know, sometimes include covering their COBRA administration and some other monthly costs and some technology. So I took a loan out on October 12th from my parents for $10,000. On October 22nd, I incorporated as Playa Vista Insurance Services. On November 1st, we officially launched and I got 4 brokers of record letters. That was able to really kickstart my path. And then now it's November 1st will be 9 years later. Yes, 9 years later, up to almost 40 clients, steady growth, and just never looked back. And I think that the great thing about it was, I came up the corporate ladder in this industry starting at a very low level. So for me, coming in and starting my own business. And as you know, you get to understand the real expectations between clients and the carriers, and you can set those expectations versus when we come in at a lower level and the salespeople are coming in and they're overpromising and forcing us to underdeliver. I got to take all of the good stuff I learned at the firms that I worked at and incorporated those practices into my business. And I took all the shitty stuff that these firms that I worked with that were doing, and I left it out. And it's just been amazing to watch the growth of the company just over time. And so here we are 9 years later, moved into a bigger office. You can't see my background, but the ocean is behind me. And I couldn't be more grateful, and just a lot of perseverance. Oh, and the best part, my parents loaned me money in October of 2012, February 1st, I paid them back $10,000. So it was so nice to be able to pay them back within 6 months, 100%. And obviously made them very proud of me as well. So that's the story. And I've been doing it ever since. And I just love it. I love being able to help people on the front end and be proactive, both with the client and the employees, on just how to stay healthy and how to use their benefits.
I love that story. I love that what attracted you to this industry was that it was lucrative. One of my favorite things about this industry is that there's no glass ceiling on commissions. So those get paid out when you make the sale. There's no women make, 75 cents on the dollar to men. There's no glass ceiling on commissions. And while it takes a lot of chutzpah, which you clearly demonstrated, I think that particularly for women who tend to have a very client-focused, service-oriented approach, this is really an amazing business. I think a lot of women get pigeonholed in the service roles in this industry, and not enough of them get encouraged like you did and like I did to go out and start our own agencies, where the risk is higher. It can be a little scarier, but the reward is a lot greater, because rather than having someone set a salary for you in this lucrative business, you are now benefiting from the commission from the sales that you make and from the ongoing relationships that you cultivate. And I love that you saw that.
Exactly. And I'll tell you two things. One is, I love what you're saying. There's no discrimination. The insurance carriers don't know whether we're men or women, and we're making the same as the next person. And if we're smarter, we're negotiating better as women. And then the other thing is that what you're talking about, I remember when I was working at a firm and I got a new account manager. She had moved to California from Iowa. Her dad was in the insurance industry. So she was kind of, not forced in, but encouraged in, because you can pay your rent working in the insurance industry. And so, the firm that I was working for hired her, and she was under me, and she's like, she wasn't really sure how she felt about it. And she says, I'm a fine arts major, in Iowa. And I said, well, the great thing about insurance is you can go after any type of client. I'm like, if that's your interest, if you're into fine art, let's go after all the museums. Let's go after the different art companies. And, if that's your passion, then you can actually touch that through what you're doing with work. And at one point where she was teetering on whether staying or not, she thought, oh yeah, like it is a way to get closer to what I'm into. And for me, a lot of people say, people who are athletes or whatever, they're doing what they love, what they've always wanted to do. I like the thought of loving what I do, but I love even more the thought of being able to afford what I want to do and not have to work to do it, where every time I want to do it, I'm doing it because I want to do it versus because I have to do it. So I thought that was kind of cool too.
For sure. And being that I love restaurants, the ability to have clients like Spago and Gladstone's has been one of the delights of my career too. I want to shift gears and talk about your nonprofit. This is what actually connected me with you, because I'm familiar with the Power of a Shower. I know the area in Venice that it serves. I have a connection to that area. And really, when I found out that you also were an employee benefits broker, that's what made me want to have you on the podcast, because I knew we had some shared experience. But I want to hear about how you started this nonprofit, and what it does for the community.
Sure. So I was invited to a networking event, I want to say about 5 years ago. It was actually an all men's group. It's called METAL. I don't even know what the acronym is, but once a month, they would allow women into their meetings. And so his wife, this person I knew through Rotary Club, his wife had invited me. So I went, and one of the speakers at this venue was a gentleman named, well, now I can't think of his name, but his last name is Maceri, Maceri. And he was the executive director of, it used to be called OPCC, which was Ocean Pacific, something, but now it's People's Concern. And People's Concern is a combination of OPCC and the LAMP project, which was the men's project downtown. And they've collided together and created a much bigger homeless service entity. Anyway, his name is John. John was speaking, and actually everything he was talking about, it wasn't new to me, but he put it in a different perspective, like how some homeless people, they have pets. Those pets act as their companions to help them with PTSD, as support, as alarms at night. And dogs can't go into shelters. And they talked about just some of the adversities that homeless actually face that people just don't realize. And I knew after I saw him speak, I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what it was that I wanted to do to help. And it took me about 2 years marinating. I hadn't forgotten that I wanted to do something. I just hadn't really come across what it was that I wanted to do. And what I was sure of was I wanted it to be politically agnostic. Whatever I decided that I wanted to do for the homeless community, I wanted everybody to be on board with. And one day, I don't know if I had just had a crappy day or if I was working out or if I was crying, but whatever it was, I had taken a shower. And when I got out of the shower, I was like, I feel good. Like a shower makes such a huge difference in our lives for so many different reasons, including mental health. And I've never heard anybody go, ugh, showers, right? Like, no, you can wash the shit off of you, whether it's emotional stuff, physical, sweat, whatever. You can wash it off and feel better and know that when you get out of the shower, you kind of start fresh. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I thought, that's it. That's what I want to do. Everybody has a right to be clean. Mm-hmm. And as an insurance professional, as you know, going all the way back to the beginning of the Affordable Care Act, let's say 2010, everybody now is talking about the Single Payer Act and socialized healthcare, and everybody should have free healthcare. And I'm telling you, there are 60 plus thousand people in Los Angeles that don't have access to water, which is fundamental. Yeah. So before we start talking about, expensive healthcare and needs for everybody, we need to start talking about the fundamentals that everybody need, like good hygiene, access to water for drinking. I mean, with the COVID crisis, I can tell you, it's not a happy ending for anyone, but when all of the fountains were shut off along the Venice Boardwalk and the libraries are closed and there's lines at the grocery store, these people are going to private home front yards and trying to drink out of the hoses because they can't get water. So when I realized that shower service was what I wanted to do, I was in Vistage at the time, and someone in my Vistage group was like, oh, have you ever heard of Lava May? And I was like, no, who's that? And they said, oh, Lava May is an organization based out of San Francisco. It means wash me in Spanish. Mm-hmm. And they already do this. So I thought I had a unique idea, not so much, that's fine. And so I called them and I said, I want to pick your brain because I'd like to do something like this in LA. And she said, actually, we are in LA. We have a trailer, but we just received grant money and we want to start a program called a replication program, which ultimately means that we want to train other people how to do what we do, which is exactly what I was looking for. And there was money associated with doing that. Mm-hmm. So they did a 2-day training in Los Angeles. My husband and I went. We were probably 2 of about 15 people that were in this 2-day training with them. And I think by the end of the second day, Lava May had realized of all the people that had come to this 2-day training, we were probably most fit to move forward because we had already gotten our tax ID number. We were already waiting for our tax exemption status, which it's not easy to get, takes a lot of lawyers and a lot of money. And we were working on a fundraiser. And so So they came to us, Lava May came to us not too long after that. And they said, we have a proposition. They said, we didn't realize, because we're from San Francisco, how crappy the traffic is in Los Angeles, and having a trailer and doing shower service in Venice, and having a trailer and trying to do shower service like downtown, central, like in those areas. It was just not conducive. Yeah. So they came to us and they said, we'll make you a deal. You volunteer with us every Thursday in Venice at the boardwalk for shower service for 6 months, and we will donate the truck and trailer to you as long as you promise to take over doing shower service every Thursday after that. And it's been 4 years. So we took them up on it. We volunteered every single Thursday for 6 months. They made good. They turned over the truck and the trailer to us, and we just took over ever since then. What sets us apart from Lava May is, Lava May didn't give washcloths, which I didn't understand, which is fine. They're still doing a great thing. We incorporated washcloths with our towels for all of the people that take showers. I contracted with Bombas. So a lot of people have heard of Bombas socks. For everyone that you buy, they donate. I can tell you it's true. We are recipients. We are getting 3,700 pairs next month. That will hopefully hold us over till next year. But they provide us socks to pass out at shower service. Playa Vista Insurance Services is the underwear sponsor. So regardless of whether they take a shower with us or not, anybody that walks up to us on a Thursday will get a brand new pair of boxer briefs or panties and a brand new socks, brand new pair of socks. And then for shower service, the way it works is the truck and the trailer are kept at the Hyperion plant here in Playa del Rey under 24/7 security. Every Thursday, this is run only by my husband, my daughter, and myself. We are all 100% volunteers. Any money, anything donated goes 100% to Power of a Shower. We just take a day off of work and go on Thursdays, and that's just our do good. We go to the Hyperion plant. My daughter and I drop my husband off. He gets in the truck that pulls the trailer. Haley and I rush off really fast to the beach to beat him by like 15 minutes. I take a list of names that usually when we get there between 8 and 8:15 in the morning, there is a line wrapped all the way around the bathroom to get onto our shower list, because we do offer hot showers and we provide shampoo, conditioner, lotion, razors, shaving cream, aftershave, toothbrushes, toothpaste. Like, they are guests, and anything that you and I would get in a 5-star hotel, we offer and extend to them. So they can have 15 minutes of peace. They could take a 15-minute shit. They could take a 15-minute shower. They could take a 15-minute nap. They can do whatever they want, but they get to do it in peace. We don't care, as long as everybody understands that the area is a peaceful area. While we're doing this, we play music. We run a bubble machine. Oftentimes people are smoking weed. We don't care. We don't care if they give us their real name, a fake name. We just want to be a safe place for them to come and just get cleaned up and just feel good about themselves. And we love doing it. So we can only guarantee 30 showers per shower service. Everybody gets 15 minutes. After 10 minutes, we knock on the door. We let them know they have 5 minutes to wrap up. And it's a well-oiled machine. In between each shower, we hospital grade disinfect every single bathroom. So it takes us about 7 to 10 minutes to clean each bathroom in between each shower. And that includes spraying the walls, spraying the shower curtains, everything. So anybody, you or myself or anybody, would feel safe going in after anybody else and taking a shower. And each stall includes a toilet, a sink, and a shower. And the back stall on the trailer is ADA, so it's got a ramp for wheelchairs to go up. And now between Erin, so Haley, my daughter, is the one that really goes in and cleans the bathroom and maintains the flow of the people. I work the table. I take all the names in the morning. I oversee the shower list and call out with a bullhorn when it's shower time, because once they sign up for a shower and they get their socks and underwear, they don't have to stay. There's a couple people that serve food out there. Sometimes they have appointments. So as long as they're back by 12 noon, if they're on the shower list, on the guaranteed list, they still will get a shower. If anybody who's on the shower list is not back by 12 noon, we take a maybe list, and those on the guarantee list get knocked off, and those on the maybe list get to replace those people. So that way we always get about 30 showers every single week. Sometimes we get more, but even though they get a 15-minute shower, we've taken an average, and the average is about 23 minutes. So, and I get it. So I completely understand, but that's the way our shower service runs, and we love it. It's a very upbeat vibe. We get lots of returning volunteers. I've received a business from Playa Vista Insurance Services as a result of Power of a Shower. We had a volunteer that loves it so much, he keeps coming back. And then I looked him up on LinkedIn, and I was like, who's your broker? And he's like, you are. So, I mean, it's just was that he appreciated what I do for my community. And in return, he gave me his business, knowing that we're going to take just as good a care of him as we do of the people that we provide shower service for. And we just love it. We do not receive any Measure H money. So we are not contracted with the city. We're not contracted with the county. We only receive private donations. This is a personal choice because we never want to be beholden to them through their contracts. We're not doing it just for the money. And if something happened and we needed the trailer to get fixed, we want to make sure that we can get it fixed in the time frame we see fit versus what the county sees fit. Sure. And so sometimes it hurts us because we could always use more money, but in the end, it really helps us because we get to make the rules, and it just makes it easier for us and our guests.
It's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful service. And a word that I've heard you use that really resonates with me is dignity. Everybody deserves the dignity of being able to have the private space, to take care of their personal hygiene. I think a lot of times people forget, and I'm sure you and I could have a long conversation about how people look at homeless people and dismiss them and forget that they deserve the same dignity as human beings that everybody does. And what you are doing helps them to have access to that. And I think that's such a powerful thing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's definitely true. And it's funny. It's like people see them, but they don't want to look at them because they don't know how to react. And that's one of the things that I love is when I'm handing out the socks and underwear, I make sure to lock eyes with everyone. I want them to know that I see them and that I hear them and that I'm acknowledging their presence, that they're in front of me because, for whatever reason that they're out there, they are somebody's son, daughter, mother, sister. And we've got stories. We've got all sorts of stories.
Sure.
We've got all sorts of people out there with all different types of stories. And, the one thing I'll leave you with this is, when people think about the homeless, the first thing that comes to their mind is the loud minority, not the silent majority. Mm-hmm. There are people that you're walking by that aren't the loud minority that are having drug issues or mental health issues, but they're living in their cars. They're working. And they have terrible credit and they can't get into housing because of their terrible credit. I know Loyola Marymount, which is not even a mile and a half from here, is like one of the top 10 most beautiful universities in the nation. And they have over 1,000 homeless students, some of them on scholarship because they can't afford to live here. So I heed caution when people start thinking about the homeless because what comes to their mind are the ones that they see that are causing problems on the streets. But when you take the actual number of homeless that are sitting in the Los Angeles County, you're walking by 3 people and not even knowing it for every one that, you see giving a problem to your community or whatever. So that's just a really important part I want people to realize is, we're not just catering to the ones that are loud and misbehaving, that we're really, really making a difference for those who really do want to get on their own feet and want to get into housing. And that's what keeps us going back out every single week.
Yeah. So I want to ask a question about you, because I know you are very generous in what you want to share about other people. I want to know, in starting a nonprofit, which is a wildly challenging endeavor for you and your family. What's been the most challenging part for you personally? Where have you had to grow and flex and take on new skills in order to be as successful as you are with this organization?
I'm not, I wish I was more successful in this organization. And I'm being honest because the biggest struggle that we have is we can't duplicate ourselves. And the biggest constant battle is the funding. We get asked constantly, can you go to such and such location? They have homeless people there. And there's a lot of bureaucracy that goes behind that. We can't just pop up somewhere and do a shower service anyway. Yeah. But even if we could, we can't because we all have full-time jobs. Right. We do this once a week and we're committed once a week to Venice. And then recently we picked up an additional shift on Saturdays once a month with Grassroots Neighbors based out of Del Rey or like near Venice as well. Mm-hmm. But we don't have the funding and we don't have the platform where we could have somebody working full time or 3 people working full time where if someone says, hey, like SPY, Safe Place for Youth is in Venice and they have a secret new location that's going to be opening that has housing. And while it's under construction, they wanted us to go out there and provide shower service daily for them while the place is under construction. And we wish that we could, but we just can't. Right. And so there are other, the good news is we're not the only ones. There's Shower of Hope, which is like more East LA. They're a privately run shower service. There's We Hope, which is also known as Dignity on Wheels. They're based out of Northern California. They're just moving down here. I hooked SPY up with We Hope because they're going to have 7 shower trailers. So they have much more capacity to be able to help on the daily. And again, I kind of like the fact that we aren't contracted like all these other shower trailer companies are contracted with the county because it allows us to not have to get their real names and just be that one shower trailer, that one-off shower trailer company where that's all we're doing. We're not in it for anything else. And nobody needs to give us any funky information. We don't need to know if you're a veteran, or any of that. We just want you to come hang out with us.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So making peace with not being able to satisfy all the need that's out there sounds like that's probably a constant process, because I imagine anyone who's approaching you to use your service there's a valid need for it. And so it must take some particular mental exercise to say, I can't be everywhere, but the community that I'm serving, I'm serving really well. And that you take the time and your husband takes the time and your daughter takes the time out of every week in order to do that is really admirable.
And it's no competition. That's why nobody ever minds sharing resources in this arena when it comes to this particular issue is, we're all going to wrangle together. If I can't do it, then I want to make sure we can help them find somebody that can do it. And I know when another organization can't do it, they're like, check with Rachel and see if they can do it. And sometimes we can come through on certain situations, but that's how it works.
Sure. So I want to wrap up with a light note. I love to ask my guests advice that they would give to their 20-year-old self. And your advice made me laugh out loud more than any other. You're my 45th guest on the podcast, and yours made me laugh out loud. Do you remember what you said?
I don't. I was like, what the fuck did I say? But I'm sure it's pretty witty. What did I say?
Oh, and the reason it made me laugh is because I can relate so much. You said, stop being so slutty. You're better than that.
Oh,
oh boy, can I relate to that? I think I would put that on my list of things that I said to my 20-year-old self as well. And I love how just raw and perfect that is, because I can relate.
Yeah, definitely had some self-esteem issues back then. I had self-esteem issues and I was like a 36 triple D. And I've since
you got a lot of attention, didn't necessarily know what to do with that attention, and other people told you what to do with it. And
that's right.
I get it. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. It was delightful to read, and again, very relatable. So you are you are a serial entrepreneur, you're working with another project, and we're going to put a pin in that project. And when you have that developed, I'm going to invite you to come back on the podcast, and we will spend time talking about that because it sounds exciting. And that's what happens when you're a serial entrepreneur. You just invent more and more things because there's lots of fun in bringing them to bear and seeing what happens with them. And I can't wait to hear about what you're going to work on next.
Excellent. Thank you.
Sure. So tell me where people can find you, both for Playa Vista Insurance Services and also for the Power of a Shower.
Sure. So for Playa Vista Insurance Services, you can reach us through playavistains.com is our website. Our phone number, which I don't think I've ever given out, is 800-834-2310. And my email is sunday@playavistains.com. And for Power of a Shower, that number is associated. It's just my cell phone number these days, which is 818-613-7863. I better not see that on a bathroom wall. And my email is rachel@powerofashower.org, or you can email info@powerofashower.org. And the one thing that we can always use that a lot of people have is your toiletries underneath your sink that you steal from all the hotels. For your hygiene apocalypse, that will probably never happen. For anybody who doesn't get a shower that wants one, we send them off with a hygiene kit that includes everything I already shared with you. And I personally make those. So if you or anybody you know has any of that stuff underneath your sink and you want to unload it, I will do pickups. I'm happy to, because it gives me a chance to see people too.
And your website, powerofashower.org, does a great job of explaining how you can support this organization. Yes. So obviously cash is always appreciated if you want to make a donation.
And we have Amazon wish list as well. And another great way to make a donation is donate your time. The great thing about the volunteering is you can do it as in short of 2-hour shifts, or you can volunteer the whole morning with us. So yeah, thank you for reminding me about that.
Oh, for sure. It has been such a delight to have you on the podcast, Rachel. I really appreciate you spending the time with me today.
Thanks for having me.
And look for more episodes with more amazing women at alignwomenpodcast.com. Thanks for listening to the Align Women Podcast. You can find more episodes with more amazing women at alignwomenpodcast.com. And visit alignwomen.org to learn more about our leadership and networking organization. This is Amy Evans, and you've been listening to the Align Women Podcast.